panel, apparently. And we are here to talk about careers and how careers transition from how people transition from corporate America and into entrepreneurship is what this panel is all about. I want to say thank you to Grit Daily and Grit Daily House, to Block Telegraph. Let's get a round of applause for Grit Daily House. Woo! South by Southwest 2023. Okay. And action.
Hello.
We on? Yeah, we on. Well,
Check,
wow.
check. Mic check.
Big round of applause for Ken and Lachelle on the AV team back here. Nice. Well, okay. I mean, I'll take it. And Juan in back, the our private chef, and he is. We whipped up some breakfast tacos this morning.
Yeah.
Some steak tips. What do they want? Are they like steak tips or? Yeah, kebabs. Have a big round of applause for Juan.
Turn Jordan's mic up.
On the grill.
Turn Jordan's mic up.
On the grill. And then Ozzy, our awesome bartender. Big round of applause for Ozzy inside. Slinging the drinks. Steve Eddie's vodka. I think it's still like Dolce Vita tequila. Waterloo, they've been good to us for years. Waterloo's been great to us. Who else is new? Oh, Austin East Ciders. Great company. Ed started. Should have invested, long and short of it. But they're doing great. They're a local favorite. For the uninitiated and those who are just joining us, this is Grit Daily House. We are an official South by Southwest venue. We're a South by selection this year, right, Kwasi?
Yeah.
You know
South
it.
by big this year. Huge.
Okay, this is working. This is working. And then one more round of applause for HubSpot out front with a mac and cheese.
Woo.
That's great. Isn't it great to have like a food truck? How can you not have a food truck here in Austin, Texas? I'm going to point out just a couple of people real quick. Nate Wesson is here with Halbar Ventures. You'll be hearing from him a little later. Ahmed Reza is here. Big, you can just roll the applause. I want to hear it roar. Ahmed Reza here from Yobi app. Cesar Hernandez, one of the top 3 lobbyists hiding in the corner here out of Florida. Linda Jenkinson is here, first woman to IPO a company on the NASDAQ. She's here today. Chris Sands is here, SEO maestro. We just keep rolling. Anna Hole Award is in the building. She wrote the book SEO Battlefield. Don't worry, we have plenty of time. We really do. I'm gonna run out of names. I will run out of names too. But yeah, look, we're really blessed and grateful to be able to do this. Independent media outlet, Grit Daily is. We get away with a lot. Like TechCrunch's little brother, they say, Business Insider. A lot of comparisons there. But about the media house, it's the only open media house, meaning other news outlets go on our stage, including Fast Company, of which Kwasi's from Fast Company Executive Board. I'll get an intro to him in just a moment. But we saw earlier, Katie Canales, Eric Christopher from Entrepreneur. Katie was at Morning Brew now and the Milk Road. She's still around. And Business Insider formerly. We had a bunch of the crew, Suknanan, Scipione, and Sigalos, all the S's. From CNBC at one time or another in the past. It's great running an open media house because you get the whole crew, and 1 billion impressions later, here we are. So, love being official. All right, Kwasi, I'm gonna. His mic should really. We gotta launch it. Actually, I can give you this one here, but let's give them just a little bit more entertainment here and make sure AV is in good shape before we start rolling. Big round of applause for yourselves out here.
Check,
Bring the
check.
energy. Good.
We in the building.
Good. I'll give you one more. Ed Zuckerberg is here. Dr. Zuckerberg in the house.
The doctor.
Big round of applause for some work he's doing. You'll see him on stage. He's on the podcast as well with Ahmed a little bit later. And I'm going to give Ken a little shout. Ken, do you need 1, 2, or 5? I just use it. Okay. All right, cool. We're going to roll here. Now you know how content gets made. It's like running a TV production.
This is how the sausage gets made, kids.
It is. I'm going to hand this mic to you, Kwasi. Oh. And let you take it away. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jordan. My name is Kwasi Asare. I will be your moderator for this panel. It's a pleasure to be here. A pleasure to be with all of you. Amazing weather we're having today. Unseasonably warm, which is a little scary to me as someone who thinks about climate and the future of the planet. We haven't had snow much in this country this year, and it's a little scary again. But we're not here to talk about that. We're not here to talk about SVB either, which is something that's also on our minds. We are here to talk about is career paths and how each one of us has transitioned from corporate America into being into being an entrepreneur. Quick story about me. I am a member of the Fast Company Executive Board, which means I write for Fast Company. I have a little bit of influence over there, I suppose. I'm also a serial entrepreneur. I'm the founder of Fedia, which is a marketing and business development agency. We do go-to-market. So if any of you guys need visibility in the world and you need to build and grow your companies, we can help you do that. I was the first new media director at Bad Boy Entertainment. You might have heard of an artist named P. Diddy who sold a few records over the years. I was lucky enough to work on products with artists like Notorious B.I.G. and Janelle Monáe, Young Jock, Danity Kane. I've also worked on products with Prince, LL Cool J, The Roots, on and on. I met Jordan a few years ago because, I don't know, I guess we just had a lot of mutual friends and people kept telling me I needed to meet this guy, Jordan. And when I met him, all of a sudden became like we've known each other for decades, and we've been working together ever since. So I'm really excited to be here. Thank you all for coming and joining us. I want to ask the panel a couple of questions. We're going to start with introductions. This beautiful woman to my left, tell us a little bit about you, and how did you end up here at Grit Daily House?
I ended up here, luckily, because I am speaking later this week about connected cars and the consumer, and Cesar said, Cynthia, this is a more important place for you to be at Grit Daily House, so come here on Saturday. And so thank you all for having me. My name is Cynthia Hollen, and I'm the founder of a new company that's putting on my way commerce on the dashboard of cars. So we're working with all of your favorite car brands right now so that really soon you're going to be able to say, hey, Minnie, I need coffee, and your car's going to buy it for you and make sure it's ready for you when you get there.
You know, I think a lot about artificial intelligence, and I think it's helping us in a lot of ways, but at some point, it may not be so helpful, right? And maybe it works against us. What are your thoughts on how AI is evolving, and how do we make sure AI is actually serving us and that we're not serving AI?
So you didn't know this about me, but I'll tell you that in my very first life, I actually was working on my PhD in artificial intelligence and natural language processing at Columbia. And my professor of artificial intelligence told me a really important thing that I always remember when we have this conversation, that we only call it AI until the computers can do it, and then we just call it code. So artificial intelligence is what we think the computer is going to be able to do, that we want it to do, that we don't know how to make it do yet. After that, it's a series of logic that we've taken from what we already know that makes it more efficient and fast. And when you think about it that way, it's really not anything to be afraid of. It's doing what we already as people do, but faster and more efficiently.
I guess what I'm afraid of is like the machines, enslaving us and all of that. But we'll come back to that. I want to go to our next panelist here. Tell us a little bit about you. Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Check.
Hello. I don't know. Can you hear? Hello? Oh, wait, I'll switch. Hello? Oh, I switch. Hi. Whoa. My name is Leslie Levito. I am the co-founder of a company called Cutclass, and Cutclass offers courses, and it's really about all the stuff that we wish we had learned in school to have extraordinary, fulfilling lives that we didn't learn. And we focus right now on helping individuals start their first business. And it is entrepreneurship, but most people that we work with kind of think more of, I want to be my own boss, because they're thinking a little bit more small business
I
oriented.
love your glasses, by the way. They're killing the game.
Thank
Seriously,
you.
killing the game. And to your left.
Yes, I'm Stephanie Ramirez. I'm a consultant for Steph Ramirez Consulting. Left corporate America towards the end of last year due to some tech layoffs, but I have a few months under my belt with my consulting, and Leslie and her team at Cutclass are my business coaches, actually.
So, Leslie, tell us about your journey from corporate America and into entrepreneurship. And what was that moment where you were like, you know what? I'm out. I'm burning the bridges. Fuck it.
God, yeah, I know exactly what that moment was. So I worked for BBD, which is a skateboard company, and we distributed at the time 7 brands globally. And I was the director of sales, and there was a need for more executive support. So I worked with them on a game plan, got my MBA at Pepperdine, and when I got that promotion for my chief of operations, it was actually only in title, and my pay was actually reduced because I was coming through sales. So that was definitely number one. But the second one was my 7-year-old one day, he was complaining about having to do after school programs because I worked. And we were at a red light and he looked at me in the rearview mirror and he said, I would rather be living homeless on the streets with you if I could actually just be with you. And that's when I was like, the whole paradigm shifted for me, because I realized that even though I was providing for my son and giving him all these material things, I was only seeing him an hour in the morning, maybe an hour to 2 in the evenings. I was always stressed, anxious. When I was playing games with him, I was still like, hold on a second, I just gotta like answer this work email, you know? And so I was never present to what's really important to me. So that was like the 2 big moments for me.
It's very intuitive. You said he's 7?
Yeah, right?
It's very
7 years old.
Like intuitive person for him to see that and identify that and articulate it. Certainly. Cynthia, I want to go back to you. So tell us about your transition from corporate America into being an entrepreneur.
I actually have a lot of respect for corporate America and love that they sign contracts with me and help make big things possible. And I have bounced back and forth between...
Give it up for corporate America. Yeah. Capitalism. Fuck yeah.
Well, really, this is counter to what a lot of people in the startup world like to think about startups. But in many ways, corporate America, because they're traded on the stock market, because they have to have profit to exist, are more focused on capitalism and profitability and viability than those of us who are getting venture capital money, and we can kind of go out and get eyeballs and do things that are not in the short run profitable. The balance of those two things are really critical, because innovation doesn't come when my job says my job is to make sure I don't get fired so I can pay for my kids to go to college. So my first life, again, I worked at a major Fortune 50 company, and everyone thinks they worked for the company that Dilbert was based on, but I know I did. And I knew that I had to get out of there, and my boss said, I'm doing everything I can. I'm laying you off. I'm giving you a stipend. We're getting you to Wharton.
I'm trying to think about a good Dilbert joke right now. I'll come back to that.
I went to business school. They threw me out of that company and said, you're getting out of here. We're giving you enough money to go to business school. Get out. You do not belong here. We're not going to let you die here, which was the best thing my corporate boss ever did for me. But I took everything I learned about watching those people get promoted and be successful in their corporation to take every one of my small businesses I've ever had since and know how to execute inside the corporate world to have my small business be able to be successful. So it's a symbiotic relationship that I really respect.
I'm loving your style, by the way. Seriously, all of it is just looking great. Just FYI.
Lisbon.
And so you've recently transitioned from corporate America into being an entrepreneur. Tell us about that transition, and what was your biggest realization in that transition?
Yeah, for me, it was kind of both. I've been wanting to always be an entrepreneur, so it was kind of like this itch that I had throughout the years, but obviously trying to move up the corporate ladder, I felt like I had to kind of go down that path. But in my recent career in the tech industry, understanding that it's just like, it's not really stable as everyone says, well, actually any industry, working at a 9 to 5 or an entrepreneurship, but it's kind of just choosing your battle and choosing what challenges you want to face. So I think I always felt like I needed to have the stability of 9 to 5. So when I was part of the unavoidable like layoffs, I think it was kind of like that light bulb moment of like, let me just do it now. Like, when will I have this opportunity to really do it? Like, finally invest in myself versus trying to jump into another 9 to 5. And also we were working fully remote at the time. So like during the entire pandemic, I was able to do my job and do it well. So I feel like kind of having that flexibility of doing like remote and never having to go back into an office, I wanted to kind of create that lifestyle for me moving forward. And I know a lot of jobs are transitioning either back to hybrid or fully in the office. I kind of want to be able to create my own schedule, but still be able to do the work that I love doing. So that was kind of like that shift that clicked for me.
And how has it been so far, like out in the wild? I mean, how's it been for you?
Out in the wild is a really good way to phrase that.
It's been good, honestly. I feel like I've always kind of had that motivation to do it, but having like business coaches kind of set the foundation really helped me and accelerate the learning curve it does take to be an entrepreneur. But also what really helped is like the confidence boost, because you are by yourself. You are representing yourself. You're not hiding behind the company you work for or a brand. And so kind of building that confidence and that grit. And then also just understanding that in corporate, you're kind of trained to put all of your worth into work and not separating both of it. Like, you're able to take that skill set and believe in yourself to actually translate that skill set into your own career and offer that as a service. And people kind of like tend to like deal with like the confidence issues there. So I feel like that's helped me so much.
True story. The first conversation that I had with Steph, we were talking about it, and she literally was like, I just got laid off from Lyft. Like, it's a huge brand. It's reputable. I have this great job. I was an essential member of the team, but when the numbers came down, they let me go. And Steph, you were like, I just don't know if I can do it on my own. Like, can I do it without that power of like a big brand? And you did it.
Yeah, it was a great support system.
Say that one more time. I want to make sure everybody hears that.
Which part?
She did it. No, well, she did it, right?
She has replaced her full-time income on her, and she's now working on her own terms, when she wants, where she wants, with who she wants. And it's only been, she started in November.
Yeah.
It's not that long ago.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations. Let's get a round of applause for that.
She's a rock star.
And that begs the question about the future of work. You transitioned from a corporate role now into being an independent entrepreneur. When you think about the future of work and how we're going to operate going forward, the idea of the corporation is a little outdated, right? We're working from home. We're working on our own time. We talked about this earlier. Like, we don't want to be constrained by some random clock that has no relation to us. How are you guys dealing with how you're hiring people even in this future of work? Like, because as you're building your own companies, you have to actually hire people. So we're out in the wild, but then how do you create a structure within that to actually be effective?
So we work with what we call permalancers. So a lot of people who are individual freelancers that we can count on, and everyone has that ability to have their freedom. And then we do have individuals that work for us, but because we're coming from a different paradigm, you don't have to work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Like, who says that's when you're going to be inspired or creative or hit a flow state? So everyone knows the job, what they're responsible for, and by when they have to do it. So it doesn't really matter when they do the work, as long as it's there when we need it. And it actually works if you create that with people. It's just that we're not talking about working that way. So it's, once people get it, they're like, oh, this is so much better.
I struggle because
Check.
just likes you better. I struggle because there is a new glamour to working in a startup that makes everyone think that they want to work in a startup. And it wasn't that way even 10 years ago, that you used to in a startup be able to attract people who understood that it was, you're going to have to sweep the floor sometimes, you're going to have to work all night sometimes, because we're all here together building something that requires 1,000% of everyone's energy and passion. And now you interview all these really smart, amazing people who want to work in a startup, and they want to be able to tweet that they work at a startup, but they don't necessarily want to actually work. And to distinguish those things takes, it takes weeks of time. And they all want to make Silicon Valley salaries working in a startup because they heard that they should get $400,000 a year and 20% of your company to be your secretary. And it's a challenge.
Yeah.
So sorting that out from the very beginning and getting the real people who want to build a company versus people who want to work in a startup is where I think the struggle is now.
I think that's about because they're still taking employee mindset into a startup situation, circumstance that doesn't work. You have to completely switch tracks up here.
Yeah, no, I think, again, when you're thinking about the future of work, a lot of us are going to have to figure out how do we transition our lifestyle from a corporate position where you have a Spanx account and you have all this stuff to now working in a garage and trying to build something. It's not such an easy transition. I want to ask the three of you guys, what was the moment in your life, though, that you said, hey, you know what? I'm willing to go and take the risk and do it. I know for you, it was just a few months ago, where we talked about it earlier, but Cynthia, for you, what was that moment where you were like, you know what? I'm ready. I'm going to make that leap.
When I started my first company, I don't think that I knew that that's what I was doing. I just knew that what I wanted to build was so important, and I was so sure of it that anybody who didn't understand it was wrong. And really, if anybody had ever told me how hard it was to start a company, I never would have done it. I mean, it's to know that payday is like a bad day when I actually have to take money out of my bank account and give it to other people, and you're going to be throwing up. I didn't know that. And now that I'm addicted, I couldn't go back to having a corporate life, but it's really unbelievably hard. But to know that you can control, if you know what the right thing is, working for someone else and trying to put 100% of your sweat and tears into making their vision right when you know their vision is wrong, is you can't give 100% of yourself again to helping someone go in the wrong direction. And when you've had the joy of putting all of your passion into something, you don't ever want to go to a place where you're just going through the motions again. So you're stuck and you can't ever go back to just a reliable paycheck again.
Tell us about your current projects. We'll start on the end here. What are you working on now? Q2, what are you excited about as an entrepreneur?
I think for me, it was kind of just like leveraging a lot of the networks and friends that I had within the industry to really help them in their current situation. What I do specifically is social media strategy, where I basically it's all rooted in data and insights, because I still felt in every company that I worked for, and even the most recent one, social media, although we know it's important, it's such a powerful tool, that people don't know how to measure it for success or know the value of it still. So it's kind of being that leader, being that internal consultant with showing people that data numbers don't lie, and being able to be more smart when it comes to their social first strategies, or even revamping their marketing strategies to include social media at the core. So it's been working with a bunch of different clients and just trying to figure out who do I really want to work for, who aligns with my values. I've been noticing more and more I loved just having being able to amplify the voice for those underserved communities. So just trying to find clients that I really vibe with.
Hat, by the way.
Yeah, so
your hat game is on point for sure.
Thank you. And no, I just want to continue to grow and continue to bring on people to help support me, to really kind of just make sure those who are on social media know how to measure it for success and are empowered to do that in data and insights. So that's my goal.
Same question.
Well,
Priorities, Q2.
yes. So
Q1.
growing Cutclass and our program Out to Launch Academy. Our goal is by the end of 2024 is 1,000 people have been made that transition into being a freelancer or a consultant, because that's the area that we specialize in. And then like a personal Q2 project for me is, I know Brett was talking earlier about individuals who are on TikTok and how TikTok can really be a marketing arm. I am one of those individuals, but my transition going from a complete introvert into being an influencer, because I think that's another area where people are scared to start a business because they're like, how would I get myself out there? How would I, create my brand? And it happened for me in the last year and a half. So I think that's definitely what I have my eyes on.
You're on TikTok.
Yeah.
You want to do a TikTok dance for us?
I don't
right?
dance on I don't dance on TikTok.
What's your handle?
It's Let Go and Discover.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I as someone who's built many communities on social media, TikTok to me seems like quicksand. And I think about geopolitically, TikTok's positioning is not sustainable in this country. So I love the engagement, and they're juicing it hardcore to make sure that they're getting the numbers, and people are like, oh shit, I just joined, I have 10,000 followers the next day. I get it, but it's clear that it's not sustainable for any of us in this country.
It isn't, and it's definitely a single point of failure in my business. So I'm looking at other ways to get an audience. And I do think that there is some weird things going on with the algorithm.
Oh no,
right now.
they're juicing all kinds of weird shit. I mean,
I think they're really promoting the people who are just now getting on, and getting them quick wins so that they get that dopamine hit and they're addicted. Because I have an audience of almost 100,000 followers. And I'm doing the same thing I've always done that has always worked, but it's not like the last few months have been really
when you
weird.
look at it's like your Instagram, your Facebook, and Twitter, and then all of a sudden your TikTok has 3 times the number of engagement. And it's unnatural, and there's a reason that it's happening, because they're obviously they have their own agenda. Clearly.
Absolutely.
Well, okay. Well, I didn't see. Okay. Well, I guess we're wrapping, guys. Again, I'm Kwasi Asare. I wanted to just make sure we all just say our name one more time before we leave. Thank you again, Jordan, for hosting us.
I'm Cynthia Hollen, and the company is MAVI On My Way Commerce.
I'm Leslie Levito with Cutclass.
And I'm Stephanie Ramirez with Steph Ramirez Consulting.
And thank you, Jordan and Grit Daily House, for hosting this amazing event, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.